everyone.
Better late than never on this. Welcome to my Loki Season 2 Episode 1 review video. I'm a few days late on this. Normally I'd like to put these kind of videos out when the episodes are dropping, but man, Marvel is back, baby. Loki is back to try and save the Marvel Universe in more ways than one, as the second season of his MCU solo show returns to Disney Plus this month. It's the only live-action MCU series to get a second season so far, and as the premiere kicks off, it's incredibly easy to see why. Tom Hiddleston, Owen Wilson, and the rest of the Loki cast really do make the show's near-incomprehensible time travel story utterly compelling. There's already so much to take in, talk about, theorize, and try to explain, stuff that we'll be doing throughout the week here on the channel, of course. All the more reason to grab that subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified for when we have those videos coming out. And so, it's been over 2 years since we last caught up with the God of Mischief, and when we left him, he was a changed man, having seen the error of his ways and having made an actual friend in the TVA analyst Mobius M. Mobius. He also accidentally helped kickstart the Marvel multiverse by traversing to the end of time with his fellow variant Sylvie, where he met He Who Remains, the last and most powerful variant left remaining of Kang, a vaguely unhinged man who felt compelled to strangle the multiverse down to a single timeline, because some of his variants had once started a war that had escalated far beyond their realities. Sylvie wasn't really interested in all of that, though, and just stabbed him to death, leaving the season's finale with Season 1. And so, you'd think that the burgeoning multiverse would have a huge impact on the MCU since, but it kinda hasn't. We saw some fun and self-contained stories in the What If animated show, a spell go wrong and then put right in No Way Home with Spider-Man, a multiverse that wasn't quite that mad in Doctor Strange 2, arguably, and then earlier this year, Scott Lang and the fam met He Who Remains variant Kang the Conqueror in the Quantum Realm. So we're really just getting started, quite arguably, I'd hope at least. But even taking that into account, not so much has transpired that we can't easily rejoin Loki's quest to manage the fallouts of Sylvie's actions on the Bucharest TVA, which is certainly good news for everyone who hasn't been keeping up with the onslaught of MCU content with its shows and movies. And so, in fact, we even pick up right where we left off with Season 1, with Loki running into a version of Mobius and Hunter B-15, who have absolutely no idea who he is, because they're in a different timeline. It soon transpires that Loki is in the past, back when He Who Remains was a known entity at the TVA, and all of his workers eagerly did his bidding, including Loki's friends. Soon, Loki is time-slipping back to a familiar present inside the TVA, of where Mobius takes him to meet OB in the basement of the TVA. This is TVA's brightest and seemingly only engineer. OB notes that Loki is time-slipping, and that he finds a way to fix it. Well, sort of. It doesn't go right. Very few things in Loki ever do go right, quite arguably. Ki-Hugh Kwan is perfect, a perfect addition to the Loki cast as OB. His interactions with Loki and Mobius are often confusing, but he maintains such a high level of winsomeness that his heavy exposition dumps are fairly enjoyable. It's easy to imagine OB as an adult version of Data from the Goonies movie. A man whose weird inventions and contraptions now regularly do save the day, to absolutely zero applause though. But of course he deserves it. The scene in which he repeatedly retorts a meta "wow" to Wilson's Mobius almost threatened to take me out, but the episode just about stayed on the rails as it clipped through the various MacGuffins and timely whatnots. I absolutely loved it. For me, though, much of this episode's breezy success is down to Wilson's banter with the rest of the cast, from the jet ski chatter and the cringeworthy fumbling as he tries to remember OB, and in particular the moments of when he writes skin in the dust of the temporal loom control room, the big wanted vibes from the loom cobblers. There's no scene too wild that Wilson easy demeanor can't bring us to Earth, even as Natalie Holt's incredible score seeks to weave its surreal story all together. It's super clear in this season premiere that Marvel genuinely cares about Loki's continuing success. Hiring beloved indie sci-fi filmmakers Aaron Moorhead and Justin Benson to oversee these episodes was a great choice after Season 1 director Kate Herron departed from the show. The camera stays with the characters and pulls you into their panic and frustration, into their narrative as the TVA begins to fall apart and Loki's time slipping gets worse throughout the episode. The time slipping itself is a truly impressive visual effect, quite honestly. The VFX on that is stunning. One of the best I've seen in MCU to date, especially in these recent two phases with Phase 4 and Phase 5. After some truly dodgy CGI coming out of Marvel Studios in the recent times, it's reassuring. The premiere itself doesn't just tie up the loose ends from the last season's finale, although it does a fairly thorough job of it. Loki's trip to a nightmarish future version of the TVA seemingly hints that his team's endeavors to fix the temporal loom will ultimately fail. A cherry Sylvie is also there in the future, and Loki is almost overwhelmed with emotion by the encounter, until he's helpfully pruned by an unseen individual behind him. It's all intriguing enough to make me want to come back next week and see what really happens. Of course, this all leads to an MCU first. A post-credit scene in the very first episode. Sylvie arrives fresh from killing He Who Remains in Brontex, Oklahoma, over a branch timeline in 1982. And orders one of everything off of the McDonald's menu. She's just like us. We all know those nuggets would have to be tight back then, too. Real original recipe goodness. The significance of the Broxton in the MCU is currently unknown there, but in the comics, Thor recreated the city of Asgard there during J. Michael's run, and the Asgardians once went to war with Galactus there, in the comics of course. It's also the birthplace of Agent Carter villain Whitney Frost, but we can probably assume that Marvel isn't making that show canon anytime soon. Given that this version of Broxton is a branch timeline as well, let's hope it's safe from General Dox, who seems to be on her own questionable mission to fix the TVA. This here all being said, guys, as I kind of mentioned at the beginning of this video, like, Marvel is back. Like, the last couple of not just shows, but even movies for the MCU were not really perceived all that well from both fans and critics alike. And just right off the bat, the first 5 minutes of Loki Season 2, I was flipping out. I was just like, this is just amazing. This is so awesome on every level of things, like the story itself, from the camera work, the CGI, everything is just perfection, and I can't wait for more. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions and theories in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Have a great one, guys. Peace out.